Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about why I believe laser hair removal is the best option for Black women who are struggling with facial hair and looking to not only remove the facial hair but improve the quality of their skin as well. So how did I come to this conclusion? Well, to start, I am an aesthetic physician. I've been practicing aesthetics for the past 6 years, and I have done thousands of laser hair removal treatments on Black women. My practice specifically focuses on treating people of color. So I see a lot of Black women in the office who deal with facial hair. And I've done thousands of treatments, and I've had great results, and I can honestly tell you that after 6 years of doing this and seeing all the problems that occurred because of the other forms of facial hair removal, that laser is the best option. So I will explain why that is in this video. But before we do that, we first need to talk about facial hair, okay? Is facial hair normal in Black women? The answer is yes and no. So it really depends. There's a variation of facial hair, right? And when I talk about facial hair, I'm not talking about thin hair. I'm talking about thick, coarse hair that causes skin problems. So normally we have thin hair on our faces or vellus hair on our faces, and that hair can get changed to terminal hair or thick, coarse hair when there is an influence of a hormone. Okay, so some people genetically maybe have higher hormones, higher levels of hormones, and so once they hit puberty and as they get older, they start to develop facial hair. And what I mean by that is thick facial hair, and that is normal for some people. But for other people, like people who have PCOS or who have Hirsutism, or for people who are in perimenopause or menopause, this hair is not typical because it is being influenced by a hormone, okay? So the hair is a symptom of a deeper problem, and the deeper problem is usually going to be a hormonal imbalance. All right, so that's the premise. And so when women see this hair on their face, the natural reaction is to remove it, right? Because it causes a lot of distress for us. When you see facial hair or you see thick, coarse facial hair as a woman, it makes you feel like you're becoming a man, right? And that's what it is. It is male pattern hair growth, usually chin and cheeks and neck, and then it goes into other places. And so the natural tendency is going to be to remove the hair. Now, the things that you use to remove the hair will determine how your skin reacts, okay? So let's say, for example, you decide to pluck the hair, which is the most common thing that I see, because usually it starts as one hair, and women are like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna pluck it. You pluck it and it goes away, right? But then you end up with a dark spot, and you're like, why did that happen? But then you just don't think about it again. And then maybe 2 weeks later, you get 2 more, and you're like, oh, I'm having more, so I pluck it again. So plucking is one way that people deal with the hair. The other way that people deal with the hair is shaving. And typically people, they'll shave the hair just to get rid of it. And either what happens is when the hair is coming back, it comes back with ingrown hairs. So some of the hair gets stuck underneath the skin, and that causes inflammation. And then that can cause more dark spots, or that can cause a scar. Okay, so that's another way that people try to remove the hair. The other way that people try to remove the hair is with waxing. Now, waxing is a form of removing the hair where you apply a wax and then that removes the hair. Typically, it will remove it from the root to the tip. But for some people, that can cause more problems. It can cause darkening in their face, in the area that is being waxed. It can cause more ingrowns because, again, now when the hair is coming in, it can grow in an abnormal fashion, and then you end up with ingrown hairs. And then the last way that people will remove the hair on their face is they're going to do a procedure called electrolysis. And electrolysis basically is a method of removing the hair by burning the hair, each hair follicle at a time. And this is actually a good way to remove the hair. I'll talk a little bit later about why I don't recommend it as the first option. But one of the things that comes with doing electrolysis is that it's not going to help you in terms of managing some of the side effects of the hair, right? The pigment and the texture of your skin. And it takes a long time to do the treatment. It's painful. There's downsides to it. And then the last one, which is the one that I'm recommending, is going to be laser hair removal. So later on down the line, I will talk about why. I'll give you all the reasons why I think laser is the best option for Black women and why you should start with that when you've decided that you want to remove the hair. Okay, so I've listed out all the different ways that people remove facial hair. I didn't mention creams, so some people might use creams, Nair, all of that, and that can cause problems as well. People have different sensitivities to chemicals, and your skin can react, and you can end up with burns, or you can end up with a dermatitis, which leads to inflammation, which can lead to hyperpigmentation. Now let's talk about the deeper problem that facial hair causes for a lot of Black women, okay? So the hair is not really the thing that stresses a lot of Black women out. It's usually the consequence of the hair. So for example, the ingrown hairs causes hyperpigmentation. The ingrown hairs causes scarring, and sometimes it can even cause keloids, right? And so the reason why this is important to understand is if you know the main thing that's causing the problem, you can then choose methods of hair removal that will not trigger that problem. And so the deeper problem in this case is going to be inflammation. Okay, I'm going to repeat it. Inflammation. Our skin, melanin-rich skin, does not like inflammation. And the reason why we have darker skin tones in the first place is to protect us from the sun. So normally we have UVA, UVB, UVC. The sun has the ability to age our skin. It has the ability to burn our skin. It has the ability to cause cancer, all right? And so our bodies, evolutionary, created a mechanism to protect us from the sun. And the way that the sun causes all of this damage in our skin is by causing inflammation of the skin, okay? And so when you are dealing with different facial hair removal methods, if any of them cause inflammation to the skin, they're going to potentially lead to the side effect of hyperpigmentation and scarring. So when we're picking a method of removing hair, we have to keep in mind inflammation. So when you pluck, you are basically causing trauma to the skin, and that's going to lead to inflammation. When you shave, depending on how you shave, you can potentially cause inflammation to the skin. When you wax, that is going to cause trauma to the skin, and that can cause inflammation, which can then cause hyperpigmentation. When you, electrolysis is not going to be counted into all of that. And when you use creams, for example, your body can have a reaction to the cream, and that can cause hyperpigmentation. So at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you keep inflammation down in the skin in order to preserve the quality of your skin tone, texture, all of that, okay? So now that we know that inflammation is the thing that we have to watch out for, here's why laser hair removal is the option that I think is best for women who have Black skin. So laser is going to help with reducing the rate of which the hair is growing, okay? And this is good because if the hair is not growing fast, then your skin kind of has a break from the hair and it has the ability to heal itself. So advantage number one, it's going to slow the rate of hair growth. Advantage number two, it is going to make the hair become thinner. So normally when people have issues with ingrown hairs, for example, it's usually due to thick hair. But if you do enough laser treatments and the hair becomes thin, then your skin is not going to have any irritation, and so that limits inflammation in the skin, and that preserves the texture and tone of your skin. The third thing is that laser produces heat on the skin. And one of the things that the heat is going to do is it's going to help tell the body to remodel or to change the collagen in your skin to make it better. And so if you deal with scars, for example, what you will notice is that as you do more laser treatment, those scars are going to get flatter and flatter because the laser produces heat, and that heat is going to help to remodel the skin. Another advantage of doing laser hair removal is going to be the fact that laser is going to remove about 80 to 90% of the hair as long as you do enough treatments. which I'll talk about later, because in my opinion, people don't do enough treatments people don't get enough treatments for laser hair removal, and so they don't get good results. So I'll talk about that later. So what is the best type of laser that should be used on people who have black skin, dark skin? My opinion is that you should be using a 1064 nanometer NDYAG laser. All right, this is the best option because an NDYAG laser, the wavelength 1064, is going to go to the root of the hair, and it bypasses the melanin in the surface of the hair. So the way laser works, laser basically produces a wavelength of light, and that light is targeting melanin. In this case, we wanted to target melanin at the root of the hair, and it's going to destroy the hair or weaken the hair, the blood supply to the hair follicle. Okay, and so when you use a 1064 nanometer wavelength, you're not going to have to worry about the laser targeting pigment that is visible or on a higher level of your skin. Okay, so that is the best option. Some other people may want to use a diode laser, which is usually going to be okay in the beginning, but as you do more laser sessions, you need to increase the power of the laser, and that is where people run into problems and usually will get burned. Some people want to try IPL or home laser removal devices. I will just say that that is not a good option. I have tons of videos explaining why, but IPL is generally a type of laser. It's not even a laser, but it focuses on pigment, and it doesn't discriminate between pigment on the surface and pigment at the root, and so the likelihood of getting burns with this type of device is very high. And also, because it's not a strong laser, one of the downsides of using it is that it can trigger more hair to grow on your face, which you don't want. So if it's not a 1064 NDYAG laser, honestly, I don't think you should be using it. Now, the most important thing that we need to talk about when it comes to laser hair removal on the face is the fact that the hair is a symptom of a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is what's going on internally. It's a hormonal imbalance. Typically, this is for the people who have PCOS, Hirsutism. It's a hormonal issue. And so whenever someone comes in and they have facial hair, maybe it's on the chin or it's in the cheeks, we have the conversation about what laser can do and what laser cannot do. Laser's job is to deal with the hair. It's going to weaken the hair, it's going to remove the hair, but it's not going to affect your hormones. And your hormones is what dictates what happens to the hair. So when you come in for laser hair removal treatment on the face, you have to be prepared to do some work at home. You cannot depend on the laser to do all the work for you. That means if you do laser hair removal treatments and you're still eating unhealthy and you're not exercising and you're not losing weight if you need to, then the laser is not going to help with stopping the rate of growth of the hair. Okay, the hair will keep coming. And if it stops one particular area from growing, other areas of your face will start to develop hair. Okay, because remember, if we do enough laser treatments on the chin, for example, and we destroy that hair and we destroy the blood supply to that hair, but the hormone is not taken care of, that hormone is going to influence other vellus hair to become terminal. Okay, so you have to pay attention to what's going on internally. You have to approach removing facial hair as an internal problem and an external problem, not an external problem only. If you approach it from an external problem only, you will not succeed. Okay, and so that kind of leads into how many treatments you're going to need if you have facial hair. And I always tell patients it's going to depend on how you manage the hormone. But historically, I think you need 2 to 3 years of treatments consistently. The variation of timing is going to be different. In the beginning, the first goal is to get the hair from thick to thin. But removing the thin hair is where it gets tricky because the hormones keep telling the hair to grow. So for me in the office, you get 2 treatments every 4 weeks. And then after that, it's going to be every 6 to 8 weeks for a period of 2 to 3 years. And that is typically the time frame. All right, and so if you go somewhere and they tell you, oh, if you just do 6 treatments, you're going to get removal of the hair, that's not going to happen. 6 treatments will not be enough for one, and two, it will not be enough because most people only deal with the hair on the outside and they don't do the internal work necessary to manage and regulate the hormones on the inside. If you're going to get laser hair removal on the face, I again recommend that you get a 1064 nanometer wavelength laser. Some examples of this are Gentle Max Pro by Candela. You have the Elite Plus. I use Splendor X in the office, and I'm not sure what else there is, but one of the things I think is a really good option for laser hair removal is making sure that the laser comes with cool air. So it's called a Zimmer. So they're doing the laser and there's also cold air on your skin at the same time. And this is important because the cold air is going to make the surface of the skin cool, and it's going to direct the heat to the depth of the skin, to the hair, to the level where the hair is. This is important because, like I said, our skin does not like inflammation, and inflammation comes from heat as well, which most people don't realize. But heat causes inflammation. And so if we can keep the surface of the skin cool and only put the heat at the root of the hair, we're able to preserve the skin. This is the critical part with laser, right? This is why laser is that option where you don't have to worry about inflammation coming about unless the wrong laser is used. But if the right laser is used and the right settings are used, it does not cause inflammation to the skin, and as a result it will improve the texture of your skin, it will improve the tone of your skin, and it will remove as much of the hair as possible depending on how many treatments you get and how you manage your hormones internally. So I'm going to go over some FAQs that I normally see. So I'm just going to be looking in the corner. The first question is, does laser hurt more on darker skin? The answer is it depends. I think that the pain level of laser depends on the type of laser that is used. So even though I said that a 1064 nanometer wavelength is the best option, be mindful of the fact that there are different types of it. Okay, and so some of them are older technology and some of them are newer technology, and the older technology typically is going to be more painful than the newer technology. So I use Splendor X in the office. I think it's very comfortable. My patients think it's comfortable, and adding the Zimmer to that makes it a pleasant experience for patients. So the other thing that dictates pain level is going to be the density of your hair. So when the hair is thicker, the laser treatments hurt more. And then as the hair becomes thinner, the laser treatments hurt less. Okay, so that's one other thing. And then the last thing is going to be variations in people. Some people have high pain thresholds, some people don't. So it's really going to depend on the person. So it's really difficult to give a blanket statement about whether or not laser hurts or not. How many treatments do I need? I think I alluded to that earlier. You are going to need probably 2 to 3 years of treatment because this hair is hormonally driven. And for me, I think that that is a good enough time frame to manage the internal issues that are triggering the hair to grow. So doing 6 treatments, like is standardly said, is not going to be enough. And that's one of the reasons why, like in my office, I created a lifetime package, because if I know it's hormonally driven, we just know it's going to take a long time. So you purchase the lifetime package that deals with the hair on the external side while you and your physician are working on the internal side, be it me or maybe another doctor. What is the worst laser for dark skin? So the worst laser for dark skin is probably IPL, like I said earlier, because it's just not compatible. It's not for black skin. So do not let anybody put an IPL machine on you. IPL typically, they use gel, but also diodes use gel, but just make sure that it's an NDYAG. Okay, that's the worst laser. Then the next worst laser is going to be an alexandrite laser. And alexandrites can be used on skin type 5, which some black women are, but generally I will say don't use it, because again, you don't know how your melanocytes are going to react to the heat of the alex, and alex is pretty hot. Okay, And then the last option is going to be a diode. Like I said, diodes are usually okay in the beginning of your laser treatments, but as the hair gets thinner and you have to increase the power of the machine, that's where it gets spicy and people end up getting burns. Are burns normal? No, burns are not normal. If you get a burn from laser and someone tells you, oh, this is normal, it's not. End of story. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about multi-ethnic women, Black women. Okay, so whenever someone comes into the office, I will ask about ethnicity. And the reason I ask is because even though women are Black, we are a combination, sometimes we are a combination of different ethnic groups. And different ethnic groups have different hair densities. So an example I will use is someone who is from the Caribbean, right? If you're Black and West Indian, right? So you have both Indian heritage and Black heritage, and you come in for laser hair removal, that information is important because people who have Indian hair or people who are Indian, they have a thicker hair density. And so removing hair of people who are of Indian descent or Middle Eastern descent, Portuguese, all of that, is going to take much longer than the average person, because their hair density is very, very coarse, okay? So if you're half Black, half white, or half Black, actually, we'll talk about half Black, half white later, but if you're half Black, half Asian, then it's going to take longer because potentially the Asian side of your hair is going to be coarser, and so it takes a long time to get rid of the hair. So if you're of that mixture, I would just tell you to expect probably 2 to 3 years of hair removal. If you're half white and half Black and you have lighter skin tones, that's tricky because if your hair is dark, then not a big deal. But sometimes your hair comes out brown, and so then we run into some problems because the amount of power needed to remove brown hair is very, very high. But then we have to deal with the melanocytes and your melanin not wanting to put too much heat on your skin so you don't get a rebound hyperpigmentation. So just be mindful of the fact that if you are multi-ethnic, then find somebody who has experience. And if you're multi-ethnic, slow and steady is going to be better. Don't go for a higher type of laser. So for example, if you're half Black, half white, and someone tries to tell you that you can do a lower level of an Alex, don't do that, right? Or a lower level of a diode, don't do that. You still need to use an NDYAG. We just might have to work on the settings for you so that we can both remove the hair but preserve your skin. Okay, so that is the end of today's video. I hope that it gave you enough information as to why I think that laser hair removal is the best option for Black women who have facial hair. If you live in the DC metro area, my practice is Delight Medical and Aesthetics. We're located in Falls Church near the Tyson's Mall. If you have facial hair that you want to remove, you can book a consultation with us and we will love to help you. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments below, and if we have enough questions, I can make a part 2 to this video. But in the meantime, I will see you on the next video.